Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to be doing a series review, and the series that I'm going to be reviewing is the Kricket trilogy by Amy A. Bartol. So a friend of mine told me about the series after I got her hooked onto The Round of Glass, which I'm super excited she's reading. And she told me about the Kricket trilogy, and she's like, you gotta read it. It's one of my favorite series. I love it so much. So I was like, okay, I'll check it out. And one disappointing thing was I tried to find it at my library, but couldn't find it anywhere at my library. Not as an ebook, not as an audiobook, not as a physical book. Like, they had nothing on this series, which is a little bit surprising because when I went back and looked at the Goodreads summary, this was the 2014. This won the YA 2014 Best Book of the Year and also Best Sci-Fi Book. And so I'm like, you would think the libraries would have this, but apparently not. So I ended up signing up for a Kindle Unlimited subscription since they had it for free on Kindle Unlimited. So I got it that way, and I flew through these books, you guys. It's crazy how fast you'll get through them. The first book I read over 2 days, and then the second book, I started it at 8:30 at night, and I stayed up till 2 a.m. just to finish it, and then I immediately started the third one that next day. So actually, yeah, 3 days then. I pretty much read this whole series in 3 days, and I really enjoyed it. Kind of disappointed about the third book, but I will get to that soon. So I'm going to do a series review of the whole series. But I'll start with the first book. I'll start talking about the first book, which is Under Different Stars. And I'll read you the Goodreads synopsis really quick. Kricket Hollowell never wished upon stars. She was too busy hiding in plain sight, eluding Chicago's foster care system. As her 18th birthday approaches, she now eagerly anticipates the day she'll stop running and finally find her place in the world. That day comes when she meets a young Etherean soldier named Trey Alaris, who has been charged with coming to Earth to find Kricket and transport her to her true home. As danger draws close, he must protect her until she can wield the powers she cannot use on Earth, and he soon realizes that counting a galaxy of stars would be easier than losing this extraordinary girl. Kyan Essen knows the powerful depths of Kricket's gifts he'll control when he takes her for his tribe and leads the forces that will claim Ethar and destroy his enemies, starting with Trey Alaris. Now Kricket faces the most difficult choice of her life, whether to wage a battle for survival or a fight for love. So I'm going to start with kind of my thoughts on the characters, the world building, setting, all that stuff. So as far as characters go, I love Kricket. I love that she has this defiant, rebellious spirit, and she does not let anyone try to control her or her, destiny. She's like, I don't want anything to do with this. I just want to go home. I just love how independent she really was. Which she had to be because she pretty much grew up in the foster system, so she was alone most of her life. And so she kind of had to learn to be tough and independent and do things on her own. Now, along with Trey's character who comes to get Kricket and bring her back to his world, he is on this mission with Jax and Rayra. So there's the three of them that have come to get Kricket. And I really loved Jax and Rayra. They are super funny. And some of the funniest scenes in this book had Jax and Rayra right in the center of it. And I just love them so much. And I love how much they really come to care about Kricket and really want to help her and protect her. Especially from Kyron and the others. And so I really love their characters. Trey, I was okay with them, kind of. He grew on me more as the book went on. In the beginning, I was just like, well, he's got a job to do. He's following orders. Okay, whatever. But as the book went on, I started to like him more and more. Everyone else in the book, though, I could not stand. I cannot stand Kyron. I hated his character, which is what pisses me off about the direction of the third book and what happens in there, which I will talk about later on. I am going to do a spoiler section, and this part is going to be non-spoiler, obviously. And I will let you know when I get to the spoiler section, because there's some major things that happen in book 3 that I'm just like, I really need to talk about them. I will say this book, especially the first one, doesn't have too many women in it. Once we get to Ether, I think we see one other woman who's basically Kricket's handmaid or whatever. She's the one who's supposed to help her get ready for dinners and stuff like that. So, and I liked her character, even though I can't remember her name right now. But she was a sweet character, and I did like her. But other than that, we really don't see many other women in this book. It is filled with men. It's dominated with men. So that was interesting. I wish we could have gotten more female characters. We do get more of them. I think in the third book we see a few more of them. But still, it's not that many. And still, I'm just like, what is going on? Where are the women characters? Although I will say it probably makes sense that we don't see them very much because of the culture of this world, this planet that we're on, which I'll get into in a minute. So the culture, the world on this planet is kind of annoyed by, because it's very sexist. There's a lot of sexist comments and behaviors, and just there's several times when Trey or I don't know, Jax or someone would tell Kricket, well, you can't do that, you're a girl. Okay, what do the women on this planet do? Apparently they don't do much at all, really, because we don't see them really doing much except for these roles that kind of serve the men. We always see, anytime we do see a female character, it's in a role that's serving the men. It's very much women are meant to be seen, not heard, and they're to always obey the men, especially their husbands or fiancé, and, they're not really to have their own thoughts or opinions. That's how it comes across. And I get it, it's the culture that's in this world, this planet, It's the way that, the world has always worked. That's how it's always been run. Um, so I get that that's just part of that culture, but it was really annoying to read about. So now getting into the world building a little bit. Since they're on another planet, there's going to obviously be huge differences in terms of the way things work, the languages, and all of that is going to be a lot different from where Kricket was taken from, which is Earth. And so we see that, and we see sort of the different language that's used and customs that's used in here. And at times, some of it felt really juvenile. It felt like a 6-year-old came up with these words, and they were like, "Yeah, that sounds like a word this person would use for that," and just got written into the story. So some of it is kind of like, okay. I'm trying to think of examples of the words they would use, like whacker and bada bach, and I'm just like, some of these sound like a little kid who made them up. But hey, again, it's the world, and you get used to it after a while. It's like, it's kind of weird at first, kind of strange, because it's like, really? But you get used to it after a while of them talking this way. Plus, it makes up for some of the funnier moments in the books. So because of the huge cultural differences in customs and the way they do things and the way they talk and stuff like that, it makes for some pretty super funny moments in the book. So the other thing I want to talk about with this book is the romance. They use a couple different tropes, which one I love and one I hate. And so I'm kind of having mixed feelings about the romance, because it is a hate to love trope. They use a hate to love trope, which I do love that. That's one of my favorite tropes, is hate to love. And so they use that in this series. And so I'm like, okay, I do like that. But another trope that's kind of in here that I don't like, which is what's giving me mixed feelings, is insta-love. Because I feel like, which is amazing that you can even say they've got insta-love and hate to love trope, because usually those two don't really work well together. Because the whole point of the hate to love trope, I feel like it takes time for the characters to actually build a relationship before they actually start to like each other and fall in love with each other. So it's more of a slow burn, and they fall in love more slowly. So the fact that this is kind of insta-lovey is like, okay, that's amazing that you can kind of put those two together. And which is, again, mixed feelings. While it is hate to love, I feel like Kricket and Trey, they kind of switched over too quickly. I feel like we don't get that slow build of them, slowly becoming friends and then liking each other and then falling in love. We don't get that slow build. I feel like they go from cold to hot pretty quickly. And it's like, okay, 1 minute they can't stand each other and she doesn't want to be near him. And then the next, she is in love with him. And it's like, I know they say there's a fine line between love and hate, but I was like, this is too quick to be realistic. If we're talking about the hate to love trope, I'm like, this is too quick of a switch for it to be natural and realistic. So while I wish they would have taken more time to build on that relationship, I do like seeing them together. And their relationship does get better, especially in the second book. Like, once you move past the fact that it was insta-lovey, it does get better. Another thing, this book, this whole series, is really fast-paced. It's pretty short, too. It's under 300 pages. Each book is under 300 pages, according to the Kindle edition, at least. So it's a pretty quick read, and they're very fast-paced. So you will fly through these books. I flew through them. There is a lot of action in the first two books. I love that about the first two. It's like they're always kind of on the move and doing things and going from one thing to the next. And so it's fast-paced. There's a lot of action. The third book kind of slows down a little bit in pace, not too much, but it is a little bit slower than the other two, but still a pretty fast enough pace. The last thing that I'll add before I move on and talk about book 2 a little bit is that with book 1, it felt very light and fun. It did feel like a book written for younger teens because of the lightness of it and the funness of it. But, unfortunately, that stops at book 1. Because once you get to book 2, the tone shifts a bit. It does get darker, there's more mature content, and I would not recommend for younger teens. So with that said, let's talk about the second book a little bit. The second book picks up right where the first one leaves off, which I won't tell you what that is because that's a spoiler. But it picks up right where the first one leaves off. And again, it's very fast-paced. There's a lot of action going on. I actually loved the second book even more than the first one. The first one I gave 4 out of 5 stars. The second one I gave 5 out of 5 stars. I loved it. There was so much going on. It is darker, like I said. It's a darker tone and feeling. There's more violence and a little bit more gruesome scenes in here. There's also some sex scenes in here as well, which I wasn't expecting. So, like I said, more mature content in here. So very much different shift in tone and vibe than the first book. But I still really enjoyed it. I just would not recommend it for younger teens. I do like that in this one we find out more about Kricket's background and we find out more about her family. And there's some reveals and stuff that happens in this one. So this is why I'm just like, the second one was like my favorite one in the series because it was just so good and filled with so much, there was a lot of reveals and twists that I was like, I want to know more. I need to know more. Like, tell me more. And we do get some questions from the first book answered in the second book, but then it raises even more questions in the second book. So that's why I'm just like, I need to know more. I need more of the story. So I really enjoyed it. So now getting into book 3, which is Darken the Stars. Book 2 is Sea of Stars. So now, talking about Darken the Stars. This one is where it went super downhill for me. I gave this, I want to say this one for me is a 2.5, which is pretty disappointing considering the second one was a 5 stars and I loved it so much. And then I get to the third one and I'm just like so disappointed with how it went. And I can't say too much without getting into spoilers. I will talk about it in the spoilers section, but know that in the third book, it just went in a completely different direction than what I was expecting. And like I said, the third one was a little bit slower than the first two. Some parts were a little bit slower because they weren't on the move as much. They weren't, running from here to here to here as much. So it did feel like a little bit slower pace. But it's still a pretty fast-paced book, even with that. So, yeah, that's really all I can say about the third book without getting into any spoilers. So, overall, the series, how I feel about the series, I liked it up until book 3. I wish we could have, even if we had stopped at the end of book 1, because book 1, it does leave some things open, but at the same time it kind of wraps some other things up that I would be kind of okay with having that be a standalone. And so if we had just stopped it at book 1, I would have been like, yeah, this is an awesome book, like, totally recommend to everyone. And then book 2, like I said, I loved it even more, although that one leaves you with a pretty big cliffhanger, so can't really recommend stopping at book 2 because it's a huge cliffhanger at the end of that one. And then 3 just let me down, so I don't know. Overall, I'm like trying to figure out how I would rate this whole series overall. I'd probably put it around a 3.5 maybe overall. So now I'm going to get into the spoilers for this series. So if you have not finished the whole series, do not watch this section. It is going to be filled with major spoilers for the third book and the end of the series. So again, if you haven't finished the series, if you haven't read it all yet, do not watch this section. Go read it, go finish it, then come back and let's discuss. So now, for everyone who has finished the series, let's talk about spoilers. So, I said in my non-spoiler part that the third book was a huge disappointment for me, and it was the thing that kind of brought the whole series down for me. Like, I loved the first 2 books, and then I got to the third book, and I really didn't like it at all. And so, kind of disappointed me and let me down. So I wanted to talk about those spoilers. So first off, let's talk about Kyron, I don't know. I don't remember how to say his name. But Kyron and Kricket's relationship. So in the third book, we get more of a love triangle. We kind of saw this start happening in the first book. We got the author was hinting that there was going to be kind of a love triangle, but nothing majorly triangle-ish, whatever, happened. So, and especially in the second book, there didn't really seem to be any hint of a love triangle there. So I thought we were going to be good after that. Nope. Love triangle comes back into play in full force in the third book. So in the third one, Kricket gets separated from Trey, Jackson, Wayra, and she gets traded to Kyron. And basically the whole book is her kind of being trapped on this private island alone with him. And of course, call it Stockholm Syndrome or whatever you want, she ends up falling for Kyron, which I could not believe, and I was not happy about at all, especially considering Kyron's character, which is really why I felt like this third book, just their relationship, Kricket and Kyron's relationship, I felt wasn't a natural progression, and it did feel forced, because knowing the type of character that Kricket is, knowing the type of girl she is, and knowing how Kyron is and his character, there is no way I could see them falling for each other. Well, Kyron already was possessive of her, but there's no way I could see Kricket falling for his character, especially in such a short period of time. Kyron is so damn abusive. Like, this guy is the ultimate controlling, abusive, like, I cannot stand him. One of the first things he does when he gets Kricket and she is refusing to listen to him or obey his orders or whatever, to try to prove that he can dominate over her, one of the first things he does is hold her underwater, drowning her. Like, and this is the guy she falls in love with. But he held her underwater for a long time. He's hit her before. And I'm pretty certain if Kricket, one of her abilities is she is able to have these precognitions where she's out of her body and she can see events that happen in the future. So there's a moment when her first night that she's with Kyron, if it wasn't for her leaving her body to see future events, I'm certain Kyron would have raped her that night. He has said multiple times before, like, she belongs to him and he'll have her whether willingly or not. He will have her. And basically he has no problem with raping her if that's what he wants. So the fact that he's abusive, he held her underwater, he would have raped her if she hadn't left her body at that moment. Just knowing these things about him, I'm like, how in the world did she ever fall for a guy like this? Like, and yeah, the author tries to make him seem better later on in the book. Later on in the book, he seems more willing to listen to Kricket, and, he actually at one point calls her his partner. So, they try to make him seem better later on in the book. But again, I'm just like, none of this feels natural. None of this feels real. Knowing his character, knowing her character, I just can't believe that she would actually get with him willingly. So I did not like that at all. That was one of my biggest issues with the last book, and that was basically the whole third book is her being trapped on this island with them, and basically starting to fall for him. And I was just like, have you forgotten so quickly? I mean, it's not even like it was that long ago. It's not like months or years have passed since this has happened. We're talking like, what? Couple weeks? Probably less? And already you've forgotten that he's an abusive jerk. The one part of this book that I did like that at the very end, she gets back to Earth, because that was her goal from book one, from the moment she was kidnapped in book one. Her whole goal was trying to figure out a way to escape and figure out a way to get back to Earth. And finally, at the end of book three, she was able to do that, along with, she did have some help from Trey, Jackson, Rayra, which her little interaction with Trey after they rescued Kricket from Chiron, we get this interaction with her and Trey where she basically has to tell him that, yeah, she did fall for Chiron, and, she doesn't want them to kill him. And, you can feel the impact of the betrayal to Trey, which I felt so bad for Trey. He loved her so much. And again, even their relationship, like I said in the non-spoiler review, their relationship happened pretty quickly as well. But you can tell that Trey fell hard and he fell deep. And he did not expect her to move on so quick. I don't think anyone expected her to move on so quick, especially with a guy like Chiron. But even knowing this, he still helped her escape and get back to Earth. But like I said, I'm glad she was finally able to make it back to Earth, which was her whole goal in the first place. The only other thing I didn't like was, again, the ending felt like there was still a lot of loose ends, and it didn't feel like it concluded very well. It happened really fast, and it just wasn't the satisfying ending that I wanted. We didn't get to see Kricket reunite with her friends, which is what I really wanted to see when she returned to Earth, because in the first book, her friends are super freaked out and super worried about her because she's just been kidnapped by these guys and they have no clue where they've taken her, and cops aren't really looking into this because they think, she's just another runaway, so they're not fully looking into this. And her friends are like really worried about her and really wanting answers. And I really wanted to see her get back to Earth and reunite with her friends and have them know, hey, I'm okay, you can breathe, like, I'm fine, I'm back. Like, even though I know she can't stay in Chicago, because even though she made it back to Earth, there were still going to be Etherians coming after her and looking for her. So I know she couldn't stay there in Chicago, but we could have at least seen her meet up with her friends at least once, just to say, hey, I'm okay, there's still some people after me, so I really can't stay. I have to kind of be on the run, but I wanted to let you know I'm okay, and I will check in with you from time to time. I just don't want you to worry so much. Like, something like that at least. And we didn't get that, and I was super disappointed about that. That's it. I know my thoughts are everywhere, but that's pretty much my thoughts, my spoiler thoughts on the ending. So if you have read this series, comment below, let me know what your thoughts were, especially if you've read the third book. Make sure to put the spoiler warning if you're going to talk about any spoilers. Put a spoiler warning, or otherwise just message me, because I would love to talk to someone about their thoughts on the ending of this book and the third book in general, and how did you feel about it. So leave me a comment below and let me know, and I will see you guys soon with another video. Bye!